out? What does she get to do to help her along? Since you have assistance in helping you, what does she get to help her?
Why does she need something to help her?
So you're able to go off into fantasy land with somebody else to help you cope with the relationship, which means that's what's stopping you from getting, you don't have to get a divorce because you're getting two things where she has nothing to help her.
Well, if you get to do this, why don't I get to do that? Well,
no, I'm not saying cheating. I'm asking you, what does she have to help her? It doesn't have to be cheating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That would be up to the woman, because I'm not saying it's right. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is marriage is for the children then, right?
A healthy marriage is for all those involved. But
kids, specifically is for the children. It's not even for the parents.
No,
because
I think the children get the most benefit.
That's what we're talking about. If the children get the most benefit, the marriage is for the children.
Well, I don't. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. We as men don't necessarily want to spend the rest of our lives with one freaking woman. We want to sleep with different women. And one of the things that we give up as men is the ability to just sleep with different women. We grow out of that. We don't grow out of that. It's kind of like, we don't, but we do. So it's okay. But at the end of the day, when you look at benefits, it's for the children. And I think that's the problem with what we're seeing, because the person leaving the marriage is usually the woman. So when you look at who the marriage is really for, the children, the man is willing to stay in the marriage, whether he's happy or not, for the children. But the woman, the second she isn't happy, she's out. So it goes back to the counterproductivity of the women that are in our community. Because when we do turn around and marry y'all asses, y'all turn around and screw the marriage up all over again. So it's like we marry you, you screw it up. We don't marry you, you become single mothers and screw the kids up because, either we ain't around or you don't let us around and the kids end up screwed up. So it's like, from the man's point of view, what do? We turn around and marry y'all, you divorce us. Not speaking from, personal, but when we do marry you, you divorce us, but we don't marry you. Like, so it's like, we just sit around like, yo, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
I hear exactly what you're saying. And I don't agree that women should just leave. If you're talking about a woman who's just leaving a marriage for no reason because of superficial reasons.
Tia Mowry.
Listen,
she's running around talking about, I graduated. Marriage is a graduate. My marriage was a graduation. I graduated from my marriage. I just broke up my marriage. This is what I'm talking about.
So with that situation, yes, we all know that there are women who absolutely, and I think it's important for us to speak on that because we're not gonna let it go until we do. Yes, there are women who take advantage of the situation, who divorce for whatever reason, and they're superficial reasons. They're just not legit reasons to divorce, in a marriage. So I completely understand that. But that is not every situation. It's not. And I would even say,
most situations.
We can say, if there is nothing going on in a relationship, let's just say we're talking about a perfect guy who's not sleeping with anybody else, never cheated. He comes home every day, that type of man, and she leaves him. She's absolutely wrong for that situation. I would agree. But I think that sometimes what happens is there are men who stay in marriages, but they've got another situation going on the side. So it kind of helps him get through the marriage because he has that second situation going on the side. So let's not forget that.
But if it helps us get through the marriage, it might be terrible. But
why do you think the man has another family on the?
So what's her cop out? What does she get to do to help her along? Since you have assistance in helping you, what does she get to help her?
Why does she need something to help her?
So you're able to go off into fantasy land with somebody else to help you cope with the relationship, which means that's what's stopping you from getting, you don't have to get a divorce because you're getting two things where she has nothing to help her.
If you get to do this, why don't I get to do that? Well,
no, I'm not saying cheating. I'm asking you, what does she have to help her? It doesn't have to be cheating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That would be up to the woman, because I'm not saying it's right. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we got to stop making excuses on why y'all keep initiating divorce. Figure it out. Find out what's going on, because between the two sexes, you may need more or something that from us or whatever, and we may need more or something from you, but we got to work this stuff out. And this is the point. The key is working this out, because all y'all want to do is, that's the reason why I'm leaving you. Like, between the two sexes, we want to sleep with different women versus women want to be with one man. It's something that the majority of us have heard at some point growing up. Men look for every woman to satisfy our one urge, but women look for every man. No, I'm sorry. Men look for different women to satisfy this one urge. Women look for one man to satisfy all of her urges. So when she finds that one man, to a certain degree, she's good just from a biological standpoint. And I'm not saying women don't crave sex, but just, the way we are wired, we look for different women to feed one, to make us happy in one way. Women look for one man to make her happy in every way. So the way we're wired.
Both of you are supposed to look for each other, and she's supposed to complete you, and you're supposed to complete her. That's how.
That's fantasy land, though. That's not what we're supposed to do. That's not the way it works. We're supposed to work it out. Find some way to work it out, but nothing is supposed to be what it's supposed to be, because that's fantasy land.
So let me ask you a question.
So
let me ask you a question. Since he gets all of these perks, what are her perks?
To be protected and have a man that will die for her and be responsible for her and never have to be alone. And the older she gets, the more overweight she gets, the less attractive she gets. And we'll stay with her and make sure she continues to have. And then if he dies, most likely we die early, you get the benefits of insurance. That's why.
So go ahead,
yeah, so that brings me to something that was said earlier into the conversation around, in sickness or in health. If that were true, then part of terminal illnesses that are found in women, part of that counseling would not include conversations around divorce, where men are perpetually leaving women who are terminally ill, right? If that were true, and men being leaders, you would look for a solution instead of trying to go against the word that you have given, your vow in front of God or whomever it is that you believe, and trying to find a solution, right? Like it seems to me like there's so much blame put on the women for not having standards, for putting out too soon, for not sticking through a partner who's not holding up to the standards that they set, for not showing up, for shielding their children against disappointment. It's all of this blame that's put on women, and yet somehow we take the focus off of men being leaders until men want to beat their chests and say that we are leaders, and yet nobody's having the conversation about what leadership looks like in these situations. When things get tough, are we having those conversations with men saying, hey, you really need to step up. You really need to stick it through. You need to stop running in these streets and go home to your wife. Are we having those conversations? Because it doesn't seem like we are.
Well, the number one thing that all of us men are saying is work it out. And the women, it's not even blaming women. We're just using a statistic that's true. So nobody is blaming men or women. Nobody on this panel, from what I've heard, has blamed anybody. But this is a way of, I don't know. I think women love to say somebody's blaming. I don't know what that is, but nobody's blaming anybody. I think it's kind of sad to sit around and be like, you're blaming that. Nobody has done that. We're saying there's a true statistic that women initiate divorce 75% more than men. That's one thing. And I just simply said, if women were to work it out and stick it out instead of mouring men, run around, I'm happy. Every time a woman divorces, what they want to do on social media, girl, I'm happy. Ooh, look at me. I'm divorced. Yes, girl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a celebration. So there's two celebrations that women usually get is having a fatherless baby and getting a divorce. And both are terrible things, but those are the two things that women love to big up other women for doing. So when it comes to blaming, it's not about blaming. We're just being real. Because the thing about it is, as men, we talk about our ways of seeing things, right? And then it's turn around, we're blaming women. Well, you gotta understand, we're men. We date women. Y'all are women. Y'all date men. So y'all are gonna see men in a certain light, and we're gonna see women in a certain light. Nobody's blaming anything. So when men actually come out and say whatever it is they want to say or how they feel about whatever, of course, the opposite sex. We're not going to sit around and complain about men. We don't date men. So when men complain about women, women complain about men, we're just talking because we date the opposite sex. So we're going to view the opposite sex in a certain way because we're dating them. Y'all have the same issues with us. But do we sit around and say, all y'all want to do is blame men? No, we're having a conversation about y'all, and y'all are having a conversation about us.